All right, next step, update. I finished with the center bracing for the floor. Like I was saying, I was going to do cross bracing just to add a little bit of stability, a little bit more strength, and a little bit more rigidity for the floor. I've got pictures. I didn't take video, but there's a subfloor underneath this floor. And basically, I ran that subfloor lengthwise from one corner to that one. Obviously, I had to use multiple pieces of wood because most plywood sheets are only 8 foot. And this tank is almost 12 foot after I lost that little bit of size. So there's underneath this plywood, there's another piece of plywood that runs from there straight across, and I divided it in half. So basically there's a piece of 28-inch by 8 foot plywood that runs underneath this one, and the second piece 28-inch by 8 foot that runs underneath this one. All right, then down this end I did the same thing, but except it's shorter. I want to say it's a little over 3 feet. There's a difference. Okay, after that I basically went over it again. This plywood that's on top that you're actually looking at, this pine, is not nearly as thick as the bottom. The bottom one is 3/4 inch plywood. This one's maybe half that, or a third of that. And all I did was, because I didn't want my seams to line up, I ran it lengthwise. So basically I cut it. So it's the total width inside the tank now is about 56 inches. So 56 inches from front to back. And I left it 4 feet. So from that corner to this first seam is 4 feet. Same thing with this piece. From front to back is about 16 inches or 56 inches. Then from this seam to this seam is 4 feet. And then 56 inches from front to back. And then from the wood at the bottom to this seam is around, I think it was 38 or 39 inches, or I'm sorry, 41 inches, if I'm not mistaken, 41 inches. After I did that, I went ahead and put up my walls. I started with this back wall. This piece of plywood is exactly 38, from top to bottom. My math was off. My window is 31 inches. I think I said before I wanted it to be 31 inches. My window is 31 inches, but from top to bottom, this back wall is 37 inches. From top to bottom. Then from corner to corner, obviously 11 and some change, 11 and 3/4 or so feet long, but it's 8 feet to this seam. Most people would kind of freak out because the seams line up or match up, but like I said, this piece of plywood, these two, this floor that you see is not the main floor. There's actually a subfloor underneath it, which is really the one that's supporting all the weight, and the seam actually is split down the middle. So I'm not worried about these two seams lining up. All right, and then what was left over was again about 40-ish, 41 inches, same as this piece of wood right here. So that's why to there. Then my other walls I put on, and then finally my windows. So at the bottom I've got approximately 3-ish, 4 inches at the bottom, and then it's just over 2 inches, maybe pushing 3 inches at the top, 1.5 inches for the floor. So 3 inches at the top. I used the jigsaw to cut out. I traced my window based off of the frame that I had. Then I used the jigsaw to cut it out. And then the same thing with the main, same thing with the big viewing window, the main viewing window here. So there is a wall there as well, as you can see, based off of these edges. So there's a wall. And this ended up being 2 solid pieces, or 2 separate pieces. I'll climb inside in a minute and show you. And I did the exact same thing. I put up one half first, the longer half. This from this corner to about somewhere around here is 8 feet. And I cut my window out with the jigsaw. I traced it and cut it out with the jigsaw. And then from here to about somewhere around, actually you can see the seam right here, to there is about 41 inches. All right, so let me climb inside and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so from inside, this is the main wall. And like I said, or the viewing window. And then like I said, from this seam to here over is about 41 inches. Then from here across is 8 feet. My next step for the project is everywhere I've got a screw hole or everywhere I've got a seam is to fill it with putty or fill it with wood glue or wood filler. So everywhere I've got these screw holes, and I tried to sink all my screws. Some of them aren't sunk, so I got to decide on whether I want to keep these or if I want to do something different. But all of these holes and all of these marks, to include the knot holes and all the other stuff, if it's indented on the wood, I either need to fill with wood filler or with putty, an all-purpose putty. And then after that, I will be fiberglassing. Fiberglassing is going to be interesting. This will be the first time I've ever had to fiberglass anything. So we will see how I do. So the next video, I'll show you after I've puttied everything, puttied and sanded everything, right before I start the fiberglass. So we've got 4 walls now, coming along slowly, but it's coming along. All right, thanks.